Hi, I am Kimani Saint-Jean. Welcome to the GIS Year in Review 2013. During the next hour, our presenters Pearl Fontaine, Mervyn Matthew, and Kimberly Benjamin are going to take you back to some of the main stories which made the news for the months of January to December 2013. 2013 began with training opportunities for police officers with the hosting of a crime scene first responder course. There were proud moments. Dominican Dr. Carissa Etienne takes up position at the World Health Organization. 2013 also brought an end to court battles. Court rules in favor of Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit and La Plaine MP Honorable Peter Saint-Jean. There was sad news also with the tragic death of national football coach Kurt Hector and player Noran John Hope. Let's now join Pearl Fontaine with the major news highlights for the months of January to April 2013.
Hello, I'm Pearl Fontaine from the GIS News Desk. During the next 20 minutes, we'll bring you some of the major stories which made the news during the months of January to April 2013. In January, the Drug Abuse Prevention Unit hosted a series of activities in observance of Drug Awareness Month. Activities included the launch of a manual to aid in the introduction of drug awareness education at early childhood institutions.
We at the National Drug Abuse Prevention Unit believe that drug demand reduction effort must start early.
Sunday, January 6, marks the 9th anniversary of the death of former Prime Minister of Dominica, the late Honorable Pierre Charles. Mr. Charles, who served as Dominica's Prime Minister from 2000 to 2004, was the Member of Parliament for the Grand Bay constituency from 1985 until his death in 2004. In January, the Dominica Emerald Organization of New Jersey donated close to $5,000 worth of food, cleaning supplies, and personal hygiene items toward government's Yes We Care program.
It's a worthy program. I think any country should take care of its seniors, and sometimes it needs help to do that. And we in the diaspora who do care about our country, who do care about our seniors, we take the time out to raise funds for projects like these.
Energy Minister Honorable Rayburn Blackmore led a delegation of Dominicans on a special visit to the Bouillante geothermal plant in Guadeloupe in January. The group included residents of the Roseau Valley and members of the media. The visit sought to quell the fears associated with government's proposed construction of the geothermal plant in the Roseau Valley.
This is something that we can support 100%.
The Ross University School of Medicine in January welcomed a group of 269 first-year medical students during its annual White Coat ceremony. Since 1978, Ross University has graduated more than 8,500 students and over the past 5 years has placed more graduates in United States residencies than any other school in the world.
It's just an incomparable privilege to enter into the lives of other human beings.
A group of farmers of Woodford Hill received additional inputs for continued production on their holdings in January. The Woodford Hill Farmers Association has been in existence since 2001, and the 8 farmers are involved in the production of a wide range of agricultural crops.
If we create employment for ourselves, and like the government see us working, or whosoever see us working, they're going to help us. We can sit back, relax, and expect to get help. You've got to work hard.
Minister for Agriculture Honorable Matthew Walter visited farmers involved in the production of cocoa. Government stepped up its efforts to rehabilitate the cocoa industry in an effort to meet the growing market demand. A team from the Ministry of Agriculture was actively involved in cocoa pruning and rehabilitation on farms across the island. Dominican-born Dr. Carissa Etienne was named Regional Director for the Americas of the World Health Organization, WHO, by the WHO Executive Board during its 132nd session in Geneva. Japanese Ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Yoshimasa Tezuka, and Principal of the Trafalgar Primary School, Doreen Watt, signed a US $36,000 contract for the construction of a school cafeteria.
Nutritious meals can be prepared to feed the students on school days at the Trafalgar Primary School and Trafalgar Preschool.
Dominica's House of Parliament in January received a gift of office equipment and furniture from the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress of the People's Republic of China. The laptops, computer desks, and printers were presented to the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Alex Boyd-Knights.
These pieces of equipment will certainly assist the Parliament in carrying out its work.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt presented 40 fans to the Portsmouth Secondary School. Funding for the fans was sourced from Petrocaribe and the Dominican National Petroleum Company Limited.
We do not want to go back to the days of the heat and the uncomfortable nature of the classrooms.
A number of village councils in January received funds to rehabilitate playing fields in many communities across the country. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt presented $60,000 to the Woodford Hill Village Council to facilitate the rehabilitation of the playing field there. Funds were secured from the Dominican National Petroleum Company Limited. $150,000 was also presented to the Petit Savan Village Council. $70,000 was presented to the La Plaine Village Council, and the Grand Fort Village Council received $150,000 for completion of works on their playing field also.
Today, it is a gratifying feeling to know that we have received this money that will do exactly what we proposed a year and a half ago.
And Dominican-born US-based businessman Hendrix Ishmael made a contribution of 430 computers, 30 laptops, and 20 printers to the government of Dominica to be installed in schools across the island.
It's going to really, propel you into the 21st century, because without technology, we can't really go. So I am here to assist and help in whatever small way I can.
You are watching GIS Year in Review for the year 2013. Now for a look at some of the major news stories for the month of February. After serving as Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica for over 12 years, Her Excellency Carmen Martinez de Grijalva returned to her homeland in February. A special farewell reception was hosted in her honor at the Fortune Hotel. The Venezuelan diplomat played a lead role in developing greater relations between Dominica and Venezuela.
The fact remains we could always rely on Ambassador for her support and for intervention.
The Dominica Manufacturers Association, in collaboration with the Dominica Association of Craft Producers, hosted a 6-day event designed to expose and promote the sale of locally made products. The Buy Local campaign activity was staged from February 6th to the 13th at the Roseau Market. The government of Dominica hosted a high-powered delegation from the Kingdom of Morocco. The primary purpose of the visit was to discuss the advancement of relations between the two countries. A key item on the agenda was the signing of cooperation agreements in agriculture and human resource development. The contingent paid a visit to the construction site of the over 58-room Moroccan-funded hotel in Portsmouth. Denison Dice Joseph won the 2013 Calypso Monarch title. Dice triumphed over his 8 fellow competitors during the Calypso finals with Beat Me Mama and Remember the Patriots. This was the 6th time that Dice captured the Calypso Monarch title. Gregory Revere, the Caressa, captured the first runner-up position with Water Bag Burst and Gentle Rest. Webster the Web Marie, with his songs entitled Legacy and Kung Fu Politics, came in second, while Daryl Bob held the number 4 spot with Nothing Plus Nothing and Find a Way. 19-year-old Les Lasser Armour Shillingford was crowned Miss Dominica 2013. Les Lasser walked away with the crown on Friday, February 8th at Carnival City, while also capturing the Best Performing Talent, Best Costume, Best Swimwear, and Best in Swimwear prizes.
I'm excited, I'm a little bit nervous, there's a lot of expectation on, but I believe I can handle it and I just can't wait to get started.
Kelsha Breezy placed first runner-up, Best in Costume, and Miss Amity. Dana Matthew captured the second runner-up position and won awards for Best Evening Wear, Best in Evening Wear. Over $3 million worth of equipment and tools were procured through the Ministry of Education's Enhancement Project to be distributed to schools across the country. The project, an initiative of the government, was launched 3 years ago and was financed by government through an $11 million loan from the Caribbean Development Bank.
We have purchased tools and equipment to support instructions in a number of technical and vocational education and training subjects.
The Canadian International Development Agency in February provided $22.3 million to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to spearhead local economic development programs in 7 Caribbean countries, including Dominica.
We're working with 50 village councils in 7 countries to develop 500 micro, small or medium enterprises. So it's really a grassroots thrust for urban development, not urban development, but development across the country.
Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Hayden Perella Sanchez, presented his letters of credentials to Dominica's head of state, His Excellency Eliud Williams, in February.
I come here in order to deepen the relationship between Venezuela and Dominica.
The Caribbean HIV/AIDS Alliance hosted a high-level seminar at the Garaway Hotel in February. At that forum, participants were sensitized on issues of stigma and discrimination experienced by key populations at higher risk of infection.
Your presence here indicates a commitment to care for the members of our community who are vulnerable and hurting as a result of social conditions or otherwise, which make them more at risk for contracting the dreaded and often misconstrued HIV and AIDS.
The well-being of Dominica's elders was the focus of a consultation held in February to discuss ways of enhancing the quality of life for older persons by promoting healthy aging. The National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission joined 3 internet service providers, Lime Dominica Limited, Mappin 2K4 Limited, and SAT Telecommunications, to establish Dominica's Internet Exchange Point. The network device, called the Dominica National Internet Exchange Point, DANIX, was formally launched in February. An IXP is a physical piece of infrastructure, literally a switch that allows different internet service providers to exchange local traffic between their networks without cost.
While we can guarantee this venture will drive the retail cost of broadband down in the short term, it will, however, facilitate a number of new initiatives and reduce the amount of expensive international bandwidth required by the ISPs.
Mass Dominic 2013, Dominica's Carnival celebrations climaxed with parades on the streets of the capital city on February 11th and 12th. We now bring you some highlights of Jouvert, the parades of costumes and t-shirt bands. March 1st marked the introduction of a new marriage license process. A major aspect of the amended Marriage Act is the introduction of the non-residency requirement, which allows couples to obtain a marriage license within 24 hours.
There is therefore dire need for expediency in the processing of marriage license application if Dominica is to take its place in this lucrative market.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit defended government's $3 million investment in Liat Airlines.
We have to play our part in addressing the issues confronting Liat. We don't think that we have the capacity to address all of the issues, but I think regional governments, all of us must play our part, as small as it may be.
Tourism officials met with bus drivers who operate along the west end of the banks of the Roseau River. The meeting was the first in a series of consultations with stakeholders who will be affected by the proposed Roseau River Promenade.
For any development on a national level, for any development on a local level, people have to be involved. The users of the area have to be involved.
Venezuelans began 7 days of mourning on Tuesday, March 5th, after the announcement of the death of their president, Hugo Chavez. Chavez was 58 when he passed away after a long battle with cancer.
We have suffered a great loss.
A memorial mass was held at the St. Alphonsus Roman Catholic Church on March 7th. Dominica's Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, personal friend of the fallen leader, attended the funeral service in Caracas on March 8. The battle questioning the legitimacy of Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit and his Education Minister Honorable Peter St-Jean as elected members of Parliament came to a head following a judgment by the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court of Appeal on Monday, March 11, 2013. The court ruled that Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit is the duly elected parliamentary representative for the Vieques constituency, while Education Minister Honorable Peter St-Jean is the duly elected parliamentary representative for the La Plaine constituency. Thousands of DLP supporters celebrated their victories during a gathering in Lago Roseau on March 12.
Oh, my dear friends, how I wish that they finally would get the message.
This sweet victory challenges every one of us to redouble our efforts.
A Thanksgiving service at the Diocesan Pastoral Center on March 18 marked the official start of Tax Awareness Week 2013. Throughout the week-long celebrations, the Inland Revenue Department educated taxpayers on the importance of paying taxes.
I think it is now fitting to inform non-compliant people that action will be taken against those who do not comply.
The creative work of Dominicans and other Caribbean students in visual arts was put on display during an exhibition at the Old Mill Cultural Center in March. The CXC Visual Arts exhibition featured students' work from across the Caribbean, which was submitted for the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC examination.
The CXC Visual Arts syllabus has quite a number of options, about 8 of them. And what we try to do is to put on display la creme de la creme from each of those options.
The body of former Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mr. Frederick Osborne George Sims, was laid to rest on March 25th following an official funeral service at the St. Alphonsus Roman Catholic Church. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit headed a delegation to the first sitting of the OECS Assembly in Antigua on March 26. Other members of the Assembly from Dominica's Parliament included Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, Honorable Ambrose George, Honorable Dr. Colin McIntyre, and Opposition Leader Honorable Hector John. Dominica's Commissioner and Ambassador to the OECS, His Excellency Felix Gregoire, also attended the sitting. In April, the government of Serbia appointed Her Excellency Marina Petrovic as its first ambassador to Dominica.
In the field of the international arena, there are many things that too we can have to discuss, the fight against crime, the terrorism, how to gather food supplies.
Seabourn Airlines made its inaugural landing at the Melville Hall Airport on Monday, April 1st. The introduction of the airlines company to Dominica followed the withdrawal of American Eagle. The Dominica Association of Teachers held its 17th annual general meeting at the Garaway Hotel in April under the theme, The Future of the Teaching Profession in the Caribbean. Dr. Morella Joseph, Program Manager for Human Resource Development at the CARICOM Secretariat, delivered the featured address. The highlight of the opening ceremony was the recognition of deserving educators.
The DEC must be commended for the role that it has played over the past years in ensuring that it does not just give representation to its members, but that it has served a truly professional role in the development of teachers nationally.
Health and wellness was the subject of a lecture and discussion at the Fortune Hotel organized by VF Inc. in April. The theme of the activity was embracing positive wellness behavior in our daily lives.
And that's one of the reasons we chose to come to Dominica, because of the nature and because it has that history and tradition of bush and bush medicine. And that's what we have to start embracing.
The Caribbean arm of the Global Water Partnership held its 8th annual general meeting on the island in April. Representatives from 35 Caribbean countries and the United States attended the forum. A workshop at the Fortune Hotel in April signaled the start of activities to enhance the water supply at Water Area 1, which includes the communities of Mero to Castle Comfort.
This demonstrates the importance attached to the achievement of the project's intended objective of an efficient, reliable, and sustainable supply of potable water to all consumers within the WA1 network.
A parade at the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth early April marked the end of Cadet Week 2013. The theme for the celebrations was Cadetting, Developing Your True Potential. 25 foremen and contractors from the CARICOM region participated in a one-week Safer Building course at the Dominica State College. The Safer Building course was designed to train builders and contractors in techniques for constructing safer residential buildings. The college has delivered this course to 3 different groups of builders and contractors, but this was the first time it delivered to a mix of regional construction practitioners.
Safer building is critical for our continuous development.
The new Grand Bay Police Station was officially opened to the Dominican public on Wednesday, April 9. The $3.7 million structure was constructed by local contractors L&R Contracting.
As the Minister of Finance, I am very, very pleased with the quality of work and also the fact that the project remained within budget.
10 single mothers in Grand Bay had their dreams of having their own homes realized when they were presented with brand new Petro Casas. The houses were constructed through grant funds by the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
My dream of owning a house is no longer a fantasy, but a reality.
UNICEF's Regional Director for Latin America and the Caribbean, Bernd Arson, visited Dominica for 2 days in April. The purpose of the visit was to get an update on projects and programs supported by UNICEF in the country.
Dominica here is really showing the way in the Caribbean sub-region in terms of giving priority to investment in children at a very early age.
50 members from the Saint Esprit Association of Martinique visited Dominica in April to hold discussions with the mayor of the city of Roseau, His Worship, Cecil Joseph. There were discussions on collaboration in a number of areas, including sports, health, culture, and education. Mathematics teachers from the lower grades of primary schools participated in a 3-day training workshop. The purpose of the training was to improve the competency of teachers in teaching the subject. The All Saints University School of Medicine held its 18th White Coat ceremony in April. At that ceremony, 15 medical students were formally donned in white coats, marking their transition from the study of preclinical to clinical health sciences. Dominicans were thrust into a state of mourning on April 19. National football coach Kurt Hector and player Noran John Hope lost their lives when the vehicle they were traveling in plunged several feet in a crater formed by the overnight collapse of a section of the Pont Cassé Road.
Do my best
for my coach,
for my coach,
for my country,
for my country,
for the national team,
for the national team, most of all.
Health officials here joined their counterparts in the region in the observance of Vaccination Week of the Americas under the theme Vaccination, a Shared Responsibility. The government of Dominica spends 5% of its annual health budget on providing free vaccines to people of all ages. The National Commission for La Francophonie hosted internationally renowned French chef Xavier de Vilde. De Vilde took his culinary skills to various parts of the world, including Denmark, Norway, Germany, Algeria, Tunisia, Cameroon, and Morocco. He demonstrated some of those skills to staff and students of the Roseau Primary School and local chefs. These were some of the main stories which made the news during the months of January through April 2013.
Thank you, Pearl. You are watching GIS Year in Review for the year 2013. We are moving on to the months of May to August. Moments of recognition. Sporting personalities were awarded in May during the Sports Awards. Government's foreign relations improved in June with the signing of an agreement with the government of Argentina. Great news for Dominicans in the north. Contract was signed in July for the rehabilitation of the Penville to Vacas Road, and the Dominica State College recorded another major achievement at the City and Guilds examination. Let's now join Mervyn Matthew for a look at some of the stories which made the news for the months of May to August 2013.
Now for a look at some of the main stories which made the news for the month of May. The Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports celebrated the achievements of Dominica's sporting personalities for the year 2012 during the 7th Annual Sports Awards. Shane Shillingford and Luan Gabriel walked away Sportsman and Sportswoman of the Year.
I'm still persevering and I'll continue to work hard to make my country proud.
The Paybush Dodan Agricultural and Marketing Cooperative officially became the 42nd registered cooperative on the island in May. President of the cooperative accepted the official certificate of registration during a ceremony on May 1st.
We had some good training, so I think we are groomed and ready to go.
6 individuals and 4 groups were recognized on May 1st for their contribution to the development of Dominica's tourism industry. Awards were presented during the 2014 Tourism Industry Awards ceremony at Crazy Coconuts. The Girardel Eggleston Flower Show received a permanent home in May with the official opening of the Girardel Flower House. The government of Dominica contributed $80,000 towards the construction of that building. The Waitikobuli National Trail was formally declared open as an eco-tourist site during a ceremony in Pokase on May 10. The ceremony was followed by a commemorative hike on a section of segment 5 of the trail from Formel to Savan David. The Roseau Public Library staged a number of activities to mark Library Week 2013 under the theme Communities Connect at the Library. The Roseau Public Library has been in operation since 1903. It has a total of 50,000 books catering to adults and children. Drumming and soulful chants of African rhythms set the stone for the beginning of the 50th anniversary of African Liberation Day celebrations in Dominica.
Thy children are gathered today.
Saturday, May 25, 2013 marked the 50th anniversary of African Liberation Day since its establishment in 1963 in Ethiopia.
When we accept that everything which comes from outside is of more value than what we produce here, there is need for liberation.
Cruise executives from Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, Princess and Disney Cruise Lines were among a group of decision makers and influencers of the cruise industry who visited the island in May. They took time to assess key investments made by government to improve the island's tourism product. There were discussions surrounding water integration between the governments of Dominica and Colombia in May. The countries will now be able to aid each other in sharing more applicable methods of water conservation. Crime Stoppers Dominica was officially launched during a press conference in May. Crime Stoppers allows persons with information about criminal activity to provide anonymous information to the authorities. The United Nations Statistics Division, the United Nations World Tourism Organization, and the CARICOM Secretariat hosted a Trade-in Services Statistics Workshop in Dominica in May. The aim of the workshop was to aid budding states in developing ways to improve their statistics in these areas. Fourth-form student of the Dominica Grammar School, Craig Laron, captured the Junior Tourism Minister title at the Discover Dominica Authority's Tourism Youth Congress. Laron outperformed 7 other students from secondary schools across the country and won a cash prize of $300 and $500 for his school.
Selling locally made produce promotes agritourism in a way that it allows the consumer, which are the tourists, to experience our amazing products while on vacation.
The European Union Banana Accompanying Measures Program was officially launched in Dominica in May, with a ceremony at the Laplin Agricultural Training Center. BAM is a European Union program which provides financial support to the banana sectors of supporting African, Caribbean and Pacific countries. The Division of Agriculture in May handed over 500 ilang-ilang plants to the Dominica Essential Oils and Spices Cooperative. Ilang-ilang is a herb used in alternative treatments to heal ailments.
This is part of a wider diversification drive by the ministry to ensure that we are well diversified on the ground as well.
And finally in May, the Discover Dominica Authority once again hosted its Jazz and Creole Festival at the Cabots National Park. For those of you who did not attend, here is a glimpse of what you missed. National Petroleum and neighboring companies, in collaboration with the Office of Disaster Management, Fire and Ambulance Services and the Police Department, conducted an evacuation drill in June. The purpose of the drill was to evaluate the business's individual and collective response to a disaster in the area and to observe safety protocols. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with 8 Caribbean leaders in trade talks in Trinidad on Sunday, June 2nd. During talks with Dominica's Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, the Asian president agreed to increase by 10 the number of scholarships provided to Dominican students to pursue studies in Chinese universities. Health practitioners involved in maternal and child health care met for 2 days with regional consultants to assess the problem of infant mortality in Dominica.
The consultation has brought to Dominica some of the finest minds in the region to assist us in delivering a robust manual to address maternal and child health in Dominica.
The Agence Française de Développement indicated in June that it was prepared to finance the construction of a 15-megawatt geothermal plant in Dominica. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit made the announcement following discussions held with French officials about its support for Dominica's geothermal pursuits. With work complete on the West Coast Road and work ongoing on Lot 2 of the Airport Road project, the administration turned its attention to road improvements on the eastern part of the island. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, along with several government ministers, went on a tour of the East Coast roads to determine the extent of works needed to improve the road conditions. Efforts were made in June to deepen relations between Dominica and Argentina. An agreement signed on June 17 came on the heels of discussions between the two countries on a wide range of topics including agriculture, health, sustainable environment management, and small business development.
Both governments has expressed their keen interest in advancing the cooperation between our two countries.
High Commissioner of India to Dominica, His Excellency Mali Mishra, bade farewell at the end of June. The High Commissioner, who was based in Trinidad, had served Dominica for almost 4 years.
And India is always there. India has been there for a long time. We are friends of Dominica.
Representatives from government and private sector labs, clinical heads of hospitals, as well as legal and policy experts participated in a week-long workshop at the end of June. The objective was to develop a 5-year strategic plan for medical laboratories. Representatives of trade unions held discussions with Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit and members of cabinet. The meeting sought to discuss union concerns ahead of the Dominica leaders' budget presentation.
The trade union has a very important role to play insofar as issues of productivity is concerned, because if we're to get to the level that we wish, then productivity must be at the forefront of the efforts of the country.
Dominica joined in the celebration of Venezuela's observance of its 202nd anniversary of independence on Friday, July 5th. Venezuela's ambassador, His Excellency Hayden Pirela, and Dominica's acting Prime Minister, Honorable Ambrose George, both laid wreaths alongside the Simon Bolivar Monument in goodwill.
Por la patria.
For the nation.
Por Dominica.
For Dominica.
Por Venezuela.
For Venezuela.
Que viva la independencia de los países.
Let's congratulate for the independence of the country.
Officials of the Pan American Health Organization met in Dominica in July to discuss the organization's strategic plan for 2014 to 2019.
We will be doing a special exercise where we will be looking at prioritization and stratification within the strategic plan of 2014 to 2019.
2 minibuses were converted into functional ambulances by Substation Officer Edson Alexander and his team of 5 officers. Ambulance number 55 and 56 were formally presented to the Fire and Ambulance Service Department during a ceremony at the Fire Services headquarters in Roseau on Thursday, July 11. The Ministry of Public Works on Thursday, July 11, signed a $4.9 million contract with the Public Works Corporation for rehabilitation works on the Penville to Vacas Road. The project will include concrete drainage and retaining walls.
Those who felt and were saying that this road would never come, we are telling them here that the road is here and the people of Penville will benefit, the people of Vacas will benefit from this road.
The Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, on behalf of the government of Dominica, on Friday, July 12, penned his signature to 2 financial agreements with the People's Republic of China, which will go towards community-based projects and the designs for the new Princess Margaret Hospital. The National Development Foundation of Dominica Limited announced a business year stirring with productivity and remarkable success. The announcement was made during the presentation of its 2012 report at its 31st annual general meeting, which was held on July the 18th.
As we reflect right now on 2012, we can feel proud to say that we have overcome the challenges that presented themselves during the year.
Agreements were signed on Tuesday, July 23rd, which meant financial investments for a number of sectors, including employment and agricultural export. Officials of the CARICOM Development Fund and the Ministry of Finance signed the $18.4 million agreement.
The CDF, through its monitoring of the program, is committed to ensuring the intervention makes a tangible difference in the lives of Dominicans.
Small business enterprises on the island were trained on how to write winning project proposals to attract grant funding from the Caribbean Export Development Agency.
We need to write better proposals. As it was pointed out earlier, it is very, very competitive.
and it's really comes down to a score. There is no preferential treatment given to any one country.
The Dominica Bureau of Standards, with assistance from the International Finance Corporation, the World Bank grouping, began work on an automation and simplification program to facilitate trade. The program was intended to harmonize trade procedures, which would ultimately provide a more efficient service to the private sector. A review of the partnership between the European Union and the government of Dominica has concluded that Dominica performed creditably and is in good standing to receive future financial support under the European Development Fund Budget Support Program.
General budget support is a very good mechanism, and I feel that Dominica is responding extremely well. So on our side, we are happy.
An Emancipation Monument was officially unveiled on August 1st at the roundabout near Peebles Park. The monument, which was funded by the government of Dominica, was created by Franklin Zama of Canefield. The monument honors the memory of enslaved African forefathers and memory of those who fought for freedom. The first ever Eggleston Heritage Festival was held on Saturday, August the 4th. One of the highlights of the festival was the official opening of a 30 by 40 foot shed dubbed Kainu. The Girodel Eggleston Flower Show and Market Fair was hosted early August after a 9-year leave.
Today is a historic day for us in this community as we celebrate after 9 years our Girodel Eggleston Flower Show Market Fair, dubbed the most beautiful show of the year.
A 2-day consultation to improve quality and standards in the spa and wellness sector was held in August. The workshop was funded by UK Aid through the Caribbean Development Bank and managed by the Caribbean Export Development Agency.
The best way for you to do this and to set the experience or the example for the rest of the Caribbean is to show that it can be done as a part of a broader strategy.
A special ceremony was held at the Chinese Embassy in Mount Daniel in August for 10 Dominican youths who were granted scholarships by the People's Republic of China to pursue studies at universities in the Asian country.
You will be trained to be a global citizen, able to function and excel in a global environment.
A contract was signed on August 8th for the construction of the Sensi Resource Center in the Kalinago territory. The agreement for the $1.4 million project was signed during a ceremony on the grounds of the Salbia Primary School. ACE Engineers are the contractors for that project.
Make the best use of the resource center when it will be completed. Guard it against vandalism. Those who criticize the work being done are not interested in your development. Continue to give your fullest support to your government as we work to ensure a brighter future for your children and the entire Salbia constituency.
Education officials announced in August that 74.4% of students who wrote the May-June 2013 CSEC examinations obtained passes with grades 1, 2 or 3. 42 students obtained 6 grade 1s or better in this year's examinations compared to 35 in 2012.
When you had only 4 schools improving from 2011 to 2012, and this year you have 12 schools improving. This is tremendous.
Fishermen in the southern communities of Soufriere, Garnier and Scottshead now have easier access to fuel. The St. Mark's filling station was officially commissioned on Tuesday, August 20th, following a ceremony at the Caribantic in Scottshead. The over $300,000 filling station was funded by PDV Carib Dominica Limited.
It's a good thing for the village. So all fishermen does benefit in it.
20 young women completed an intermediate creative manicure and pedicure apprenticeship training program in August. The program was financed by the government of Dominica through the Dominica Employment and Small Business Support Agency and implemented by MANS Limited. A new modern agriculture station was constructed in 1 Mile Portsmouth. The multi-million-dollar facility replaces the agricultural station in Hillsborough, which was damaged by flooding in 2011. The project includes 7 greenhouses and an open field for demonstration. These were some of the main stories which made the news during the months of May to August 2013.
Thank you, Mervyn. You are watching GIS Year in Review for the year 2013. Just 4 months to go. The month of September ushered in good news for the residents of Shawford with the commissioning of an over $1 million water supply system. In October, a former government minister was sworn in as the country's 8th head of state. In November, 17 nationals were honored during the Independence Day parade of uniformed groups. There was, however, some sad news in December with the passing of a former head of state. Let's now join Kimberly Benjamin for a look back at the main stories which made the news during the months of September to December 2013.
Hello, I am Kimberly Benjamin. During the next 20 minutes, I am going to take you back to some of the main stories which made the news during the months of September to December right here at the Government Information Service. On September 2nd, a contract was signed for the construction of a $3.2 million police station in La Plaine. Plans for the 2-story building include a magistrate's court and inspector's quarters. Akim Lowe, a part-time student at the Dominica State College, represented Dominica at the Beyond 2015 Global Youth Summit in Costa Rica. Lowe joined 500 participants from over 50 countries across the globe. Dominica's participation was funded by the United Nations. 36 men and women successfully completed 6 months of intense training at the police training school in Montbreuse. The graduation ceremony for the 31st Recruits Training course was held on September 4th. Alan Alexander, who obtained the best overall performance with an average of 89.7%, received the Baton of Honor. He also received the award for Best Recruit and Best at Drills. The Kalinago community observed the Kalinago Week from September 15th to the 22nd under the theme Celebrating the Lives of Our Kalinago People. As part of the week-long celebrations, Kalinago cultural groups on September 18th presented an impression of what a permanent monument of the island's indigenous people should look like. The government of Dominica in September embarked on a national street lighting project as a means of enhancing security and safety on the island's roads. The project involved the installation of 4,851 street lights across the country at an estimated cost of $34 million.
And that in itself will significantly, you would appreciate, enhance the security and safety of the roadway.
Over 700 new students began studies at the Dominica State College at the start of the new school year in September. A week of orientation began on September 16 at the Arawak House of Culture.
It means that you're now prepared to take responsibility for your future so you can become whatever you choose to become.
The Dominica Labour Party held its annual delegates conference mid-September. Supporters showed up in large numbers to hear the address of DLP leader Honorable Roosevelt Scarrett. Donville Innes, a member of the Democratic Labour Party in Barbados, and Gaston Brown, leader of Antigua and Barbuda's opposition Antigua Labour Party, also addressed the meeting. 31 loyal supporters of the party were recognized at the conference. An over $1 million water system was officially commissioned in Shawford during a ceremony on September 18th. 80% of funding for the project was provided by the Caribbean Development Bank through the Basic Needs Trust Fund 6 program.
No more praying for the Kawem to end. No more looking towards the mountain tops for rain.
A special mission from the CARICOM Secretariat held several consultations in Dominica on September 23rd and 24th. The objective of the two-day visit was to seek the views of representatives of various sectors on the way forward for CARICOM. Efforts by government to advance students' learning through the use of information communication technology, or ICT, has moved another step further with the hosting of a national e-learning symposium in September.
I am not saying replace classroom education with online education. However, I advocate for a blended approach, using online education to supplement and enhance classroom instruction.
Major progress was made by government in the implementation of multi-purpose identification cards. Training was conducted on September 30th for officials of the Electoral Office. The MPID system is being implemented by the OECS Electronic Government for Regional Integration Project.
It is envisioned that the team here in Dominica will be the expert team to guide other users in the other countries, because it will be the first team that will be trained.
Former National Security Minister, His Excellency Charles Savre, was sworn in as the 8th President of the Commonwealth of Dominica.
I, Charles Angelo Savre, do swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the Commonwealth of Dominica without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold and preserve the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica, so help me God.
His Excellency Savre was elected President of Dominica on Monday, September 30th, in accordance with the provisions of Section 19 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica. The new head of state comes to the office of President after a long and distinguished career as a teacher, trade unionist, parliamentarian, diplomat, and government minister.
I assume the office of President without malice or ill will towards anyone, without fear of intimidation, and with respect for the traditions, laws, and Constitution of Dominica, which I am sworn to uphold.
Ambassador and permanent representative of the Commonwealth of Dominica to the United Nations, His Excellency Vince Henderson, issued an appeal in early October for the lifting of the economic embargo against Cuba. His Excellency Henderson was addressing the general debate of the 68th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The Independent Regulatory Commission handed over a 25-year license to DOMLEC's Board of Directors on October 7th.
It was a lot of discussion, a lot of negotiation, but we arrived at 25 years. So both licenses, generation as well as transmission distribution.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt presented a check of $100,000 to the President of the Dominica State College towards the development of a financial aid program at the college.
We have to continue supporting the students who are unable to meet the tuition fees.
And Phase 1 of the Silver Lake Housing Program began in October. This phase will entail the construction of 6 apartment units. This is a fulfillment of the promise by the government of Dominica to enhance the living conditions of residents of Silver Lake.
Those of you who have been here and you have seen these long houses and the conditions in which people live in, there's no way we can come as anybody and criticize the government's intervention in this community.
Contracts were signed on October 9th between the government of Dominica and China Civil Construction Limited, which paved the way for the construction of a new primary school in Newtown. The $6 million facility is a gift from the People's Republic of China and will include 14 classrooms, a science lab, library, and elevator for physically challenged students.
This new Newtown Primary School that is to be built for the people of the Rosa South constituency and beyond is a promise which is being kept.
367 young men and women graduated from the Dominica State College on Wednesday, October 16.
You are entering a Dominica workforce that is in dire need of your young mind and energy. Dominica looking for solutions to all problems.
A groundbreaking ceremony on October 18 signals the start of construction work on the new La Plaine police station. The $3 million facility will serve the communities of Montjean, La Plaine, Rivière-Syrique, Grand Fort, and Boitica. Veronique Nicholas, also known as Ma Boyd, emerged winner of the 2013 Madame Wop Duet competition. The 2013 Madame Wop Duet, who represented Newtown, copped awards for Best Talent and Best Wop Duet categories. 75-year-old Ivanti Harriet was named Cultural Elder for 2013 for her sterling contributions to her community. Dominica's head of state, His Excellency Charles Savre, sashed the 2013 Cultural Elder during Heritage Day celebrations in Bagatelle on October 20th. Dominican Gina Joseph, the recipient of the 2013 Women of Great Esteem Award of Excellence, handed over the Global Crystal to the government of Dominica during a special ceremony on Wednesday, October 23rd at the House of Assembly. Ms. Joseph, who resides in Brooklyn, New York, in May this year received the prestigious award from the Women of Great Esteem organization for her outstanding performance as a renowned certified public accountant in New York and her knowledge of the tax laws of the United States.
We salute you, Ms. Joseph. We celebrate your achievements.
The Council of Ministers of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL, held its 28th regular meeting here in Dominica on October 24th. The Council of Ministers, which comprises the telecommunications ministers of member states, met for 2 days at the Regents Hotel. The Regional Integration and Diaspora Unit of the Prime Minister's Office hosted the second Dominica Diaspora Entrepreneurship Forum on October 30th. The event sought to encourage local investment from Dominicans living abroad. The meeting allowed for the exchange of ideas with various company representatives and other stakeholders. St. Joseph Primary School was renamed the Caleb John Lora Primary School. The deceased Caleb Lora was an educator, politician, coach, and cricketer.
Mr. Caleb John Lora has left an indelible mark on this community and this country by extension.
Dominica's 17th annual World Creole Music Festival was hosted on October 25th to the 27th. Headline acts for the three-night event included Kassav, Michelle Montano, and Busy Signal. Other bands in the lineup included Triple K Global, Swinging Stars, Karami, and Bracket. Kadas Lipso pioneer Fitzroy Williams received an award from the Ministry of Tourism for his 40 years of service to the local music industry. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt presented $400,000 to the Dominica Agricultural Exporting Company to widen and develop its export business.
This is not the first time that we're providing the private sector with funds at 0% interest to assist them in increasing their procurement of agricultural produce.
Political and operational focal point representatives of the Global Environmental Facility from a number of Caribbean countries met in Dominica on the 21st and 22nd of October for the 24th meeting of the Jeff Caribbean constituency.
This is the opportunity for the countries to speak out and to mention what they want to see in Jet 6.
The Windsor Park Stadium was awash with color and displays of national pride on Friday, November 1st, on the joint occasion of the National Youth Rally and Flag Day. Ms. Dominica Les Lassa Amour Schillenford delivered the feature address. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs received 3 protocol vehicles from the Korea International Cooperation Agency on Monday, November 4th. Korean Ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Park Dong-sil, says the gift is meant to enhance the Foreign Affairs Ministry in matters of diplomacy. 17 Dominicans were honored for meritorious service to the state during the November 3rd parade of uniformed groups. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit delivered his annual Independence Day address to the nation. He applauded the thousands of nationals who turned out to the parade despite calls for a boycott of the events by the opposition. Dominica joined other nations on November 10th in remembering and honoring the men and women who served during the First and Second World War. An official ceremony to commemorate the service of Dominicans who perished in the fight for freedom was held at the Cenotaph on Sunday, November 10th. On Friday, November 15th, the first tranche of $2 million of a $5 million loan agreement between the government of Dominica and the NDFD was officially handed over to the chairman of the NDFD.
The NDFD is therefore grateful to the government of Dominica through the DNPC for providing the funds, which is intended to stimulate socio-economic growth on the island.
The government of the People's Republic of China presented 90 motorcycles to the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force on Thursday, November 28th. Unemployed, ambitious youth and service providers were brought together on December 2nd for the simultaneous launching of government's National Employment Program and the Trade and Employment Exposition. Government has arranged to cover the cost of employment for the hundreds of interns being placed at organizations for a year. Over 50 businesses were represented at the expo.
They kept the end of the bargain and went to school, applied themselves, and are now prepared and willing to contribute to the growth and development of this country. We as adults have a duty to assist them in so doing.
The 12th Annual Caribbean Association of Fire Chiefs Conference was hosted in Dominica from Monday, December 2nd to Friday, December 6th.
We want the junior fire officers to have the knowledge and skills to be successful in supervision, management, administrative and executive positions as they rise through the ranks of the fire services across the Caribbean.
Dominican Leo Casimir received the 2013 Juanita Altenberg Award for Excellence in Maximizing Access to the Region's Global Fund Grant. Leo Casimir is a CARICOM project coordinator with the Regional Global Fund Grant, which was established to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. The Elias Nasser Foundation made donations totaling $67,500 to 38 various institutions and individuals on December 4th. Beneficiaries included daycare centers, preschools, homes for the elderly, health services, spiritual institutions, and centenarians. 31 young persons from Bafa State and surrounding communities completed a 7-week skills training program in December. Participants completed courses in cake decorating, pastry making, sewing, and basic electricity. The training programs were organized by the Bafa State Development Committee in collaboration with the Adult Education Division.
I never thought I could sew, and I tried my best. Listen, go at home, try the paper patterns. It's a continuous thing. You always have to be trying.
In an effort to bring awareness to the benefits of consuming more fish, the Fisheries Division held its first ever National Fish Queen contest on December 5th. Impressive culinary art was on display at the National Stadium, where participants cooked on site a variety of fish dishes. A technical and economic cooperation agreement between the government of Dominica and that of the People's Republic of China was signed on December 6 with a view to further develop friendly relations and economic and technical cooperation between the two countries. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt signed on behalf of the government of Dominica, while Chinese Ambassador His Excellency Wang Zonglai signed on behalf of the government of the People's Republic of China. The agreement is in the amount of $8.2 million. On Friday, December 6, the Embassy of the People's Republic of China donated resource materials and teaching aids to the Orion Academy to facilitate the teaching of the Chinese language and culture at the school. China's ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Wang Zonglai, bade farewell in December. A farewell reception was held in his honor on December 12th at the Fortune Hotel.
We have spent almost 3 years together. At this moment, to say goodbye, I have many complicated feelings.
80 employees of the Princess Margaret Hospital were recognized for outstanding work in December. The awards were presented during a visit to the hospital by the President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Savre. The government of Dominica on December 9th presented a check of $107,800 to the Grand Fort Village Council towards the completion of work on the Grand Fort playing field. The government of Dominica declared December 10th as a National Day of Mourning as a mark of respect for former South African President Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela died on December 5th at age 95. Former public officer Irene John was sworn in as mayor of the city of Roseau during the 11th inaugural meeting of the council on December 13th. The Caribbean Association of National Training Agencies hosted its 22nd General Meeting in Dominica on December 12th and 13th. The Japan International Cooperation Agency presented a check of $65,541 to the Dominica Red Cross for the purchase of a four-wheel drive ambulance suitable for medical response on all terrain surfaces.
Today's ceremony demonstrates how strong bilateral relations are built, not only through intergovernmental interaction, but also through cooperative efforts on a community-based grassroots level.
Former President of Dominica, Vernon Shaw, passed away on December 2nd. The body of deceased Shaw was laid to rest on December 14th after a state funeral at the Mount Wallace Methodist Church. Persistent showers in the early hours of December 24th caused extensive damage to homes, businesses, and public infrastructure in the south of the island.
I got all my children out, so praise God we have our life. But besides that, every single thing, I lost every single thing.
Technical officials from the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, SEDEMA, and other agencies visited Dominica on December 29th to assess the impact of the trough system, which also caused significant losses and fatalities in other Caribbean islands.
We're going to need the kind of technical support and rapid response.
The estimated cleanup cost, according to public works officials, is $45 million. These were some of the main stories which made the news during the months of September to December 2013. We now take you back to Kimani Seja.
Thank you, Kimberly. You have been watching GIS Year in Review for the year 2013. We thank you for joining us and we invite you to tune in every evening to our nightly news national focus in the coming year. Our news can also be found on GIS Dominica YouTube channel, as well as repeats of this program. Feel free to drop us an email at www.news.gov.dm. On behalf of our presenters Pearl Fontaine, Mervyn Matthew and Kimberly Benjamin, I am Kimani Senja, wishing you, our viewers, a productive 2014.